I do think that like maybe in the situation it was so dire that it was like, I don't care about the rules. Like, fuck the law. Take the car.
I'm ready. Let's go.
Awesome. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Oh, jet lag and all that.
Yep, back in England, back in your own space.
That's it, yeah. YouTube viewers will notice that we are split screen once again, and that's because I've returned home to the UK and I'm struggling, man. But I'm doing my best. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, it's weird having you not be in the city anymore. I got very used to having you around, and so even having to figure out time zones and stuff, it's like, wait, this again? Okay.
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah, exactly. Honestly, I was home for a full month, like 30 plus days, but it feels like maximum 2 weeks, not, if that. And it plays with you, man. But anyway, we're back to
Yeah.
doing this, and we get a weekly time with Lisa. So who are we?
Yay. We are the Belladonna Watch Club. Get comfy with us
Yes,
while
we
we
are.
dig into iconic shows and movies that one of us has never seen before. So I'm Lisa,
And I'm Jenny.
and we are on season 1, episode 4 of the Gilmore Girls, and this episode is called The Deer Hunters. So, in this episode, we have Rory at Chilton who is struggling. She's struggling really hard. She gets her very first D on a paper that she's ever gotten in her life.
Nightmare.
She's horrified, like, just she's not handling it. And she sort of spirals a little bit. And we have a really big test at the end of the episode that she needs to get to. So, there's just a lot of Rory feeling under the gun, struggling with her schooling, and then the lighter secondary plotline that we have is Suki getting an incredible review from a restaurant critic in a paper or a magazine, I suppose it was. And the critic said that the famous risotto, the magic risotto, was fine. It was fine, which
Oh, what a word. No.
I know. Unacceptable. Unacceptable for Suki. Despite the absolutely raving, wonderful review. So then, yeah, the other kind of plot line going through there is Suki grappling with this. What did you think? What did you think?
I really, really liked it. Although typically I get really anxious at episodes that heavily feature injustice and things that aren't fair, because I just want things to work out. And this whole episode is just full of things that are so unfair, and you just can't deal with it. But I think I picked out the theme of this episode being pride, and
Fair,
how
yeah.
it shows up. Yeah, how it shows up in different ways in different people, and how it can sort of not make or break, but how it can serve you or hinder you.
Yeah, because that makes so much sense that you picked up on that. So for me, this episode, like I said last time, I've seen the first season many times. This episode drives me insane. I don't know why. Something about it just really bothers me. I think it's the deer hitting the car. I don't know why. That part of the story just really bugs me. And I get that it needed to be something weird.
Yeah, I'm
I don't
not
know.
fully sure what that is there for. I mean, it's there to cause yet more tension and problem and conflict for later on in the episode. But like, what? Why? Why? I don't have a theory of it yet.
Every time I watch it, I'm just like, why did she get out? Why did she want to find it? Like, what? Okay. I don't. And that I think just goes back to, in the panic moment, you're not thinking clearly, and you don't really know what to make of yeah, your outfit choices or the deer hitting your car or whatever. While there are some moments in this episode that I absolutely adore, overall in the whole, it's not one of my favorites.
So, in the pre-credits scene, they are going shopping for school supplies, for like extra school supplies, like I don't know, they're looking at post-it notes and pens and highlighters, and it's clear Rory has her own list of things that she needs. And this scene is so neat in how, like, they're both damn clever with their wits, and they sort of take turns being anxious or being at all stressed. Obviously, Rory is maintaining her stress level because she wants to make sure she's prepared. She wants her own standards. She's clearly demonstrating her very own high personal standards for herself, how well prepared she is. Something like she needs 3 highlighters in case one dries out, the other one gets lost. She still has a third one. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And this is such a good example of them taking turns with the jabs at each other, like little clever jabs of just like, this is silly, you're being a bit ridiculous, or like, you know, you're being too immature, or now you're being too uptight or too control freak. And I love that we get those scenes with the two of them. They equal out, they balance out. Neither of them wins this scene.
It reminds me a bit of, I think, how I might be while shopping with my child, but like the Lorelai, not the Rory. Right. Like, I would be like the weirdo, the irritating one, I think. It's like, let's be ridiculous. And then we get to Chilton.
Yes. All of this preparation does not prepare Rory for her first bad grade.
Literally the first in her life ever, the first D that she's ever gotten. And to add insult to injury, Paris and one of the other girls sees her grade, and they are horrible to her. Like, it's hard enough, I'm sure, getting a terrible grade, but then to have Paris talk about how, you know, that just sets you up for a job at McDonald's. Horrible. And then Tristan comes back.
I still hate him.
Like, oh God, he's horrible. When he's kind of coming on to her like, oh, what? Do you have a boyfriend? What are you doing Friday night? And Rory's version of being like laying down the law is, please leave me alone.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, he said, please. And I wrote it down because she's being, for Rory's typical standards, she's being so direct and so like almost harsh. Please leave me alone. It's just like, oh, honey.
He says something like, you look like you're upset. And okay, if a girl looks like she's upset, how about leave her alone? Or, you know, maybe a little bit of sympathy or
What's
something.
wrong? Are you okay? Like,
yeah, anything. Oh, I can't stand him. And he's so, here we go. Here's a first instance of pride, or a version of pride, because he says, you like me. I think you like me. What? Since when? Who are you to say so? He's so just like proud and arrogant and like, God, I can't stand him.
Yep, he's horrible. And he's the kind of guy that he's only giving her the time of day because she's not fawning over him. Like, I'm sure all of the other girls in the school are, or at least he's used to that kind of attention from girls. And so the fact that she's just trying to like put her head down and do her work, that just brings him, that just gets him going. And I'm like, ew, you're so gross, Tristan. You're the worst. Go away. Please go away. So once Rory gets home from school, she doesn't tell her mom about her grade. She feels really embarrassed. You could tell that she's just really in her head about it because she's never gotten a grade like that before. And so I'd forgotten exactly how the scene went. And as the scene progressed, I was like, yes, exactly. And it felt, my thoughts were just like half a second ahead of the scene. Anyway, let's talk about it.
Hey, let's get ice cream. I'm bored. Hello?
Mom, I'm studying.
Yeah, but I'm talking ice cream. Can't you take a break?
I can't take a break right now.
Okay. When?
Are you 4?
No, I'm hungry.
Have some more pizza.
It's cold.
Heat it up.
It's not the same.
Lorelai, go to your room.
Wow, smart girls are mean.
If you let me study now, I'll play with you this weekend.
Promise?
Yes, we can do anything you want.
I love it so much. Because at the beginning of the scene, I was like, wow, she sounds like a child. She sounds like a literal child.
Yep.
And then immediately Rory is like, "Are you 4? Go to your room." Like, I just, I just thought it was so good that they totally rolled with it, and I'd forgotten about that. Rory is very visibly trying to concentrate. She really wants to just get her work done, and Lorelai will not let her. She's so juvenile and she's so immature. And any normal parent would be like, great, my kid is studying super hard. Let's leave them do it. Lorelai is just like, I'm needy.
I assume that she never really buckled down, or never really had to sort of buckle down quite this much when she was at Stars Hollow High, maybe? Because, you know, I think she'd be used to it by now. I think Lorelai would be used to Rory's, you know, intense study sessions, but this seems a little unusual. Like, hey, you've usually got time for me, or ice cream while you study, you know, let's keep going.
Yeah, it really does seem that way. And we get glimpses of that for sure throughout the episode, where they're like, this isn't Stars Hollow High anymore. You're not like by default the smartest kid, like without trying.
That's such a weird, I was going to mention this a little later on, but I can mention it here too, that the transition from being a sort of, I don't know, let's say gifted, just for the purpose of gifted, I don't know, just for the purpose of like the image of it. When you're a high achiever, let's say a student, I was all through elementary school and into middle school. The transition from that to suddenly you're really, really being challenged by your academics, it's really, really, really hard on your sense of self and your self-worth. For me, when I was 12, I started late French immersion. So in Canada, you could do early French immersion. You start at a French school, and English kids or otherwise kids learn all of their courses in French from, I guess, kindergarten age. But then there's late French immersion, which sometimes starts in high school, sometimes it's around middle school. That was the case
I think
for
at
me.
my school it was grade 6.
Suddenly, all of your courses are in French, and you're not like learning old stuff. You're learning all the same things that all of your peers and the other, you know, English kids are learning. Brand new material, but now it's in a different language. And it's seen by teachers and school board members that all across the board that grades for late French immersion students just plummet. And I saw that, and it was horrendous. And when you're, you know, 12, 13, 11, 12, 13, like you're already going through so many changes and ways that you feel about yourself, and to have your grades and your schoolwork just not measure up, it was awful. It was absolutely awful. So I feel for Rory in the sense that like I know what it's like when you're suddenly being very, very challenged at something that usually used to come so easy to you, and like your study methods don't work in the same way. You have to sort of learn brand new methods, and it's tough. It's a very, very tough experience, and I don't envy anyone for it.
So wait, are you saying that when you went into late French immersion, all of your classes, like math and science, was suddenly in French?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
That's horrible.
It was awful. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it really, really was. Because, like I said, you're still learning the curriculum that the rest of the grade 7s and 8s are learning in their first language, or, you know, in English. And yeah, so suddenly, and then like the terms are different, you know, words are different, like multiplication and addition and brackets and stuff. It's, yeah.
I had the reverse experience for French immersion up until grade 8. And then when we got to high school, suddenly the classes were in English, except French class. So I had the reverse experience where literally everything that I learned was all in French. And then I get into an English science class or an English math class, and it's like, I don't know what this is. And even though, you know, it's my first language, it wasn't terms that I use in an everyday setting. And so that was also very confusing, and that was a big struggle. But oh my gosh, that sounds terrible. Your version is way worse.
It was. It was awful. It was absolutely awful. But now I can speak French, so that's cool.
Yep, fair enough.
I haven't used it in like 10 years, but you know.
So speaking of Tristan and some comebacks in this episode, we actually have quite a few. So Dean is mentioned again, just in passing. We get, Dean was asking about you. So that kind of hints that maybe we're going to see Dean again. But it was Lane who brought Dean up. So we get to see Lane and Mrs. Kim again.
She's back!
She's
Yeah,
back.
and in a very weird scene that made me really uncomfortable.
Yeah. Most scenes with Mrs. Kim do that. Mrs. Kim is extremely strict and out there. Like this is Y2K, right? So the issue of body image and weight and everything was very prevalent in media. And so, you know, you have Lane with the rice cake and Rory's like, what is that? And Lane is like 12 calories.
12 calories! Like, oh my God.
Yeah. Grab a clip that I really like because they do make it extremely exaggerated, right? So it doesn't feel like everyday people necessarily counting calories. It's just Mrs. Kim being Mrs. Kim.
This is sold. Move. What's that?
Oh, that's mine.
Yeah. That is chocolate covered death.
With a creamy caramel surprise.
That's chocolate covered death. Like there's no middle ground with her. So I like that they don't make it seem like the normal people's moms are being like that, but they still add that element into it.
And then they bloody sell the table that she's doing her homework off of. Like, instantly. Somebody wants to buy that? Okay, it's gone. Move. Like, oh my gosh.
That's Mrs. Kim.
Yeah, what a business.
I guess she must make decent money. I mean, like, to spend $375 like that, because that's what they ended up selling the table for, in 2000, just $375. Just drop it down. I'm actually going to quickly check how much $375
please do.
is worth. Something that cost $375 in 2000 would cost $618.50. That's actually a really big difference. Just for 23 years ago. That's a huge difference. Ew.
We are living in tumultuous times. Oh my God.
Oh no. And so, speaking of tumultuous times, Rory going through tumultuous times at school. And I like that they take this episode to further drive home how out of their element both women are all of a sudden. Like Rory with her school, Lorelai with the parent-teacher meeting, and she being so vastly different from the other parents who are there. Like they're talking about the AP test, which we don't have in Canada, but obviously is a big deal in the US. And so the parents are like, well, how do we find out what's on the test? And what do we do about this test? And then Mr. Medina is like, you should bribe the AP staff. And they're like, oh my God, they start like whispering amongst each other. He's like,
Let's do that.
I was joking. But these are, the let's buy success kind of parents. So that was, I think, really funny.
A remark
and then
that one of the parents has at the beginning of this scene. The teacher is going over what important figures, what they're going to be studying this year, and one of the parents asks, "Is Marlowe that significant?" And like hearing this, I'm saying, hell yes he is, you ignoramus. Like, what are you talking about? Is Marlowe that significant? Of course he was. He was a bloody contemporary of Shakespeare. And he had his own, like, hugely important and impactful works. Like, what a question.
So
rude.
I love having our two perspectives because I've literally never heard of Marlowe. And when he asked that, I was like, he's not. So I'm glad that you are
Christopher Marlowe, yes.
Our co-host, or like that we are co-hosts, bringing our perspectives. You can be the teacher, and I will be the student, or the snobby parent. Like,
I'm just giving
to know
Marlowe
about
his
Marlowe. Nobody needs to know. I really love when Lorelai comes into the room. She's late, which I think they also did on purpose to be like mother, like daughter in a situation. Like they just make them both seem frazzled and disorganized. I forget exactly what the joke is, but when she comes in and like trips over the globe and she's like, well, then we'd be in a world of trouble, like, and pats it, I just like burst out laughing. I think she's so funny. Yep. And those are the kinds of jokes that get like crickets from people, but then I'd be there like, whoa, Lorelai.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're a supportive, active audience. Totally.
So I do have this doozy from the parent-teacher meeting, though.
What? Yeah, it's a big, exciting test. I just thought, I'm sorry, is that stupid?
No, it's not stupid.
I just thought I'd like to see the excitement.
It's a test.
Yeah, I know.
What's exciting about a test?
Do you play golf?
Yes, I do.
You explain yours, I'll explain mine.
Okay, why don't we get back to the meeting?
That's the one who voted for the scrunchies. Must be a scholarship student.
Excuse me.
You know what? I think this would be a good time for a break.
Once again, out of respect for my father-in-law, I will not say what I have to say about golf. 2 weeks in a row.
I think Lorelai's comebacks here are another example, as we're going to see for the rest of this episode, of her pride. So her pointed "excuse me" after the scholarship comment, that's her pride on display. Because she's not going to let herself go down and be made smaller in any way.
My pride was wounded when she said she must be a scholarship student. I almost at the same time as Lorelai. It's like, excuse me? I would have had the exact same reaction, and I would have had to have Mr. Medina call a break. Like, everybody cool down. I would have been absolutely furious. And that even just goes to show the audacity of the people in this world that they've entered, where they like audibly say comments like that about other people, knowing that they're fully protected, their status is protected, their their money, their wealth, like all of that, you can't touch them. They're untouchable. So they can like half-ass whisper about other people right in front of their faces without having to worry about any type of like ramifications.
No. And it's a matter of pride that was even an insult. Because, like, I don't know, she could be a scholarship student. We don't know. And that I think anyone else, if, like, money wasn't the big... Money and wealth wasn't the big, heavy problem that it was in the first episode, and it continues to be a point of contention, then, it wouldn't feel like an insult. Somebody else's pride would just be like, yes, and we're still here. But obviously it is a major point for the Gilmores that we actually can't afford to be here.
That's it. But also, have you seen her house? It is unattainable.
Enormous.
Absolutely unbelievable to think that a single mother could afford that much house. It has a wraparound porch, and I don't care what small little town you're from in Connecticut. I know that housing is different in the States and that there are some affordable houses that you could get, but it is 2023 and a single parent can't even afford a 1-bedroom apartment right now, let alone an entire house. Are you joking? I'm sure
a huge portion of our audience right now is all going, right? Yes, they've been waiting for us to get to this point. Because, from the get-go, as soon as we saw the porch, like, good Lord, come on.
Right?
So this is suspending disbelief. We got to do it. And also it allows us to, fantasize a little bit more. So I'd give anything for a house.
We fantasize in big time. So then she finds out at this PTA meeting that Rory got the D. The D? That sounds terrible. He got a D on her paper. And I think it was really sweet because Lorelai finds out that she got this grade and immediately is like, everything clicks. And she's like, now I understand why she's been working so hard. And immediately she's like, I need to go be with her. And she must be really like not feeling good about herself right now. And I really need to go be with Rory. And the fact that she wasn't angry or upset and that she was just really like, oh my gosh, Rory must be gutted. I need to go see her. That was so touching.
She literally says, I'd like to be there. I'm leaving this. I'd like to be there.
Like, she's not a demanding parent in terms of her grades. Like, Rory being a high achiever is all on Rory. Like, Lorelai does not push, or at least doesn't seem to push for any of that.
It was a surprise to me when Lorelai said that she's wanted Rory to go to Harvard since she was 4. Like, really? Did Did she really? And did she instill that? Like, where did that come? That was a surprise to me. I didn't think that would have been hugely important. But
yeah, she does. I was surprised too when she mentioned that, because also later on in the episode, she goes, I don't remember if there was ever a time where you didn't want to go to Harvard, and where did that come from? And was it me? And I was like, girl, like 20 minutes ago, you were telling Mr. Medina that you wanted this for her. So yeah, that was a bit of a surprise as well from Lorelai.
Speaking of Mr. Medina, I think I'm learning and I'm picking up on flirtation conversation. Yeah? Is this a flirtatious conversation? Yeah. my radar is really patchy, so I'm not so sure. But
you mean when someone stares at you like you're a steak dinner, you're not actually saying flirtation? He wants to gobble her up.
Well, and she asks a great question. Are you this nice to my kid? Which I think serves such a good... It serves two purposes. It's flirtatious. It's, you're being nice and I'm noticing it. But it's also, you're being nice to me, but how are you to the children? Are you this nice to my kid? Like, I really hope you are, because my standards are that you need to be a nice person. So you'd better be nice to my kid. And also, she's wearing a t-shirt. So she has upgraded from the cowboy boots and the shorts and the everything. She has her proper shoes and her blazer and skirt, but she's got a B-52s t-shirt. And I noticed that the instant she set foot in the room, and I was like, was she not wearing a blouse earlier? What? She was wearing a perfectly fine blouse. But very, very clever writing. By the end of this scene, we get the explanation that she had a cup of coffee and she spilled it on her blouse. And the t-shirt was the only thing she had in the car. Genius! Just wrap it all up. No loose ends.
Yeah, I love that. I love that she doesn't even realize that she's really wearing it. Because Mr. Medina asks if she's a B-52s fan. And she's like, why would you ask me that? Like, I don't understand. And he's like literally wearing this shirt, which is also like he's doing the like, you know where he's looking. But little anecdote that reminds me of the most mortifying day of the 4th grade of my like entire year. I think it was the 4th grade because my sister was still at my school. It was a parent-teacher meeting. And I remember it was weird because it was in the school gym, and I think the teachers had like booths or something. And it was a larger affair than we were used to. And everyone was staring at us, and I couldn't figure out why. And my dad wasn't there. It was just my mom, my sister, and I. And so we end up leaving, and we go home. And I think it was Erica, my sister, who looked at my mom and was like, is that what you wore? And my mom was like, what? And she looks down, and the shirt says, I kid you not, iguanas do it better. And it's all of these iguanas in different sexual positions all over her shirt. And she wore this to the school. And I can't believe I didn't think of this on the first episode with Lorelai's outfit. But now it's like the PTA meeting or the parent-teacher meeting, like jogging his memory. And it wasn't just like the one-on-one meetings with the parents. It was all of my classmates' parents were there. Like everybody was there. And my mom was horrified, and we were horrified. And it was just like, why do you own that shirt? Why is that even within grabbing range in your closet? Mom! And then we told my dad, and he was like, what is wrong with you? Oh,
you can't even chalk that up to like French Canadian, mistranslation. No, she speaks English perfectly fine.
Yeah, and you don't need to speak the same language to understand what is on that shirt. It was graphic. It was like cartoon graphic and iguana graphic. Why did you wear that? Anyway, shout out, love you, Mom. Thanks for that story.
Oh dear.
Rory is waiting for Lorelai at Luke's while she's at this PTA meeting.
Here.
What's that?
You look like you need pie.
I do?
Violent pencil tossing usually signals a need for pie.
What if I had thrown a pen?
I would have brought you a trowel.
What?
I don't make the rules, I just carry them out.
What? Luke, like, what is that? I was just like his sense of humor. He just like brings it in, and it's unexpected, and he kind of like tries to be on their wavelength a little bit in his own weird Luke way. He's just like,
I like to contrast this to awful guy at school at the beginning, who is just like, you look sad. I'm just gonna involve myself in your business. Versus Luke, a grown up, and his kind actions. Right? He's not just saying like, dude, you look like shit. What's going on? Tell me everything. It's just like, okay, you look like you needed pie. So I'm bringing you pie. So just a nice little distant, but still vaguely involved impact and action.
and I love it because it shows that he knows her. He pays attention. He cares about her quite a bit. Like, he's been there for her whole life. He's seen her grow up. It's a small town and they've all been there, and he wants to take care of her, and he wants to make sure she's okay in his own non-invasive, intrusive way. Yeah. Oh, Luke. And then Lorelai shows up.
I guess you talked to Mr. Medina.
Mm-hmm. Why did you let me whine about ice cream and shoe sales when you had something major going on? I hate when I'm an idiot and I don't know it. I like to be aware of my idiocy, to really revel in it, take pictures. I feel we missed a prime Christmas card opportunity.
I'm sorry.
You should have told me.
I couldn't.
You couldn't tell me? You tell me everything.
I love that here, again, Lorelai doesn't make it like, you didn't tell me and now I'm doubly angry with you. Like, she makes it about her. Like, I would have liked to know so that I could be an idiot on my own terms and not on yours. Rather than, I wish you would have told me, and I can't believe you didn't tell me, and I'm so hurt that you didn't tell me. Like, it really could have gone that way. And in stark contrast to last episode, Lorelai handles this really beautifully.
Definitely. I fully agree. At the very start when she arrives, her light jokes that she normally puts in, they're not working, but they do start to work at the end when she's explained, like, hey, if you had talked to me, like, I'm not trying to make light of your situation because clearly it's something that you're really upset about. Rory says that it was too humiliating. Fair enough. Lorelai lays in heavy doses of recognition and support, confidence in her, and encouragement of what to do next. And they make a plan of how are they going to prepare for the test, the big, huge Shakespeare test. They're going to do it together. They're going to work on this together, and we are going to be open with each other, talk about it, and honestly, that is something that you, Lisa, are very, very good at. Not just saying, oh, that sucks, oh, this is a shame. You're really good at turning a stressful situation into something that you can do something about. You are able to encourage me to take the next steps to go in whatever direction you need to go in. Whereas I'm a big, big wallower, and I will take everything as my problem, and I just get stuck in there, and I stay in there very much like what Rory was feeling. She's feeling humiliated. She wanted to keep it all herself, and she just feels, well, she seems to feel like there's nowhere to go. There's no way to like bring herself back from this. But Lorelai is doing a very Lisa thing of, okay, how do we push on from here? And we're going to do it together.
Well, I am a Capricorn, so but I do see a lot of myself in Lorelai, and it's not always a good thing, but in this case, I am going to say that is something I consider to be one of my strengths. I don't necessarily apply those to my own problems. I'm really good at helping other people with their stuff in that regard. Because that's just how I'm wired, and that's how Lorelai is wired. She's the problem solver. She's like, okay, we've got something. I'm going to acknowledge that it sucks. It's terrible, but we're not going to live in this feeling. We're going to work our way away from this feeling by doing something about it, or trying to do something about it. I did notice that she kind of started throwing in the jokes like right away, and you're right, they weren't really landing. But then as she kind of she just kept going, and not with the jokes, but she kind of realized that like Rory just needs that ear. And I think, yeah, she handled the situation really, really well. It was just the right dose of like a maternal kick in the pants.
Yes.
I guess.
Yep.
Without being too much. Like, I feel like a lot of other parents out there would be like, you're going to study, you need to do this, you blah, blah, blah. But the fact that she's like, well, I'm going to make this our problem now. So you're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to do this together. It was really nice. And so they do start studying. This drove me a little crazy. And thank gosh, Rory was able to just be like, Mom, and like shut it down. But every time Rory was getting a question wrong when they were studying, Lorelai was just like, and you'd think that she would have a little bit more tact.
Trying to turn it like a little game show thing with the wrong buzzer, and Rory's instilling that like, no, this is not how it's gonna work. I need you to be as serious here as I am with me. And I think they both seem to feel pretty confident by the night before. Ooh.
I don't think Rory will ever feel prepared for anything. Like, she doesn't seem the type to just be like, I'm done now. I feel good. There's no other work to be done. There's nothing else to learn. I got this. So I don't think any amount of studying would have made her feel comfortable or prepared for a test of this magnitude. Ever.
No. There's something in their living room. We get a
I knew that you were going to. I knew it.
of Lorelai on the couch. What is on the mannequin behind her? What is? I mean, there's nothing on my mannequin currently, but what is? It's some like I can't actually tell if it's gaudy or just I don't know, flamboyant, but some kind of a pink and sparkly silver dress thing of some kind. What the heck is it?
It looks like like antique almost. Like it looks like it could be like Victorian but not quite.
It's like Victorian
what?
showgirl.
Yeah. Like vaudeville. Like what was it? I have no idea.
Right
We're gonna put a picture of it here. We're gonna put a picture. Be like, what was that? What is it?
Theories.
I was like, oh, Jenny's gonna see that, and Jenny's gonna ask about it, and it's weird because like tiny spoiler. Oh no, I guess we did talk about it. So in the first episode with the Chilton skirt, Lorelai talked about sewing and like hemming the skirt and making it shorter. So Lorelai does sew. So there is a certain element of that. We haven't gotten a lot of that yet because, we haven't talked about skills or hobbies too much beyond just laying the groundwork for the big stuff. So Lorelai does sew, but I don't know what that is. And I don't know if it's permanent, like if it's a decoration or a project. I don't fully know. I don't remember a lot of the small details. I don't know if that mannequin reappears or its purpose or significance.
We'll keep our seamstress eyes peeled.
My God, my poor sewing machine is like dusty and decrepit, and it's like, use me,
Mine's hiding under here. Anyone watching us on YouTube right now, you'll see that there's a naked mannequin dress form behind me. And also over this side with two little pumpkins on top. This is my sewing machine. So this is my office, by the way. Just a little Easter egg for you. There may be things showing up on this dress form from time to time once I get back into the swing of my project. So eagle-eyed viewers, stay tuned for that.
We are also in my office, and I've got my Cricut machine. Also, their machines. Got my Cricut machine there, so this is where I do some of my work too. It's a fairly new machine though, so I haven't been churning it too much. I've been just playing. It's been fun. But anyway, so they were studying and then they fell asleep. So first, Lorelai's like, solidarity, I'm staying up with you. And immediately, I don't know if it was immediately, but I feel like immediately she falls asleep. Classic. And it was really sweet because Rory comes over and like puts the blanket on her. And then Lorelai wakes up and then sees Rory fell asleep studying. And then she puts the blanket on both of them. I just, so cute.
So sweet. All these nice little touches. That's really, really clever storytelling, I think.
Obviously, them falling asleep at the kitchen table sets them up for being late. No alarm to be set when you're passed out on the kitchen table. I really like that. And identified strongly with Lorelai waking up being all stiff, Rory like 16 and spry and her muscles all work properly. And then Lorelai's like, Mommy can't help. Mommy slept at a right angle. Like
Literally, because this is relevant literally for right now, that is how I slept on the plane coming back from Canada. Because it was one of those where you're all jammed in like sardines, and I cannot sleep like sitting up like this with, upright with your head flopping. The only semi-comfortable position I had was with the seat tray table down in front of me, and then I had the pillow on there. I had my head down like this on the pillow and my arms underneath the tray, and I slept for about 3.5 hours like that. Which is the most I've ever slept on a plane in my life.
How are you living?
I don't know. Boy, I was sore after that trip. Holy smokes, I'm still struggling.
Oh my God. Ew, ow. Oh, all of that feels bad. I don't like that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you had to deal with that.
It happens. It's your 30s. Yay.
That feels like something out of The Sims where they just like fall asleep and like at a table or something where they would just be like... You're on a sim plane. So yeah, they're late. Classic. Lorelai was going to drive her, but she has a meeting, so she can't. She's going to get a ride with Suki to the inn, and then Rory, you've got to go. Take the keys. First of all, she's 16. Is she even allowed to take the car?
I didn't know she could drive. I thought that was a joke. They mentioned driving in a previous episode. I'm like, she can drive? Really?
I do think that like maybe... in the situation, it was so dire that it was like, I don't care about the rules. Like, fuck the law. Take the car. Which, like, I think most of the time, because Lorelai, as much as she's like free and whatever, I think was like safety and like, she'd be like, you don't have a driver's license. You're not touching that car. But in this case, does she even have a driver's license? She might have like a, in Ontario, the equivalent of like a G1, because that's what you can have here. I don't know what the learning permit levels are down in the States, in Connecticut in the, 2000. So she gives her the phone, the giant like block of the cell phone, which I love. My dad had one of those, and she gives her the keys, gives her the phone. She's like, go, like get there. And then Rory decides to stop at a stop sign and call Lane because of one question. She has one question about... like, girl, you're super fucking late for this test. Stop it. Here, let's watch.
Did I leave a set of my notes at your house yesterday?
Where are you?
I'm driving to school. I need to check something, and I can't find some of my notes.
Okay, hold on, let me check.
This closet, though?
I don't see anything.
What did I do with them?
Well, maybe it's downstairs in the store?
Maybe. Oh my God!
Are you all right?
I just got hit by a deer.
You hit a deer?
No, I got hit by a deer.
How do you get hit by a deer?
Oh, good Lord.
So this is the part that I'm just like, what? Like,
why do we need this? We don't need any more tension and conflict in here. It's tense enough that she's late.
Right? And it's like, if you can't find your notes, first of all, do not be looking at your notes when you're driving, sweet baby girl. Do not do that. That's like, you might as well be texting and driving, except you can't text on those phones. But you need to be focused. Also, what is the crazy dirt roads that she's driving on to get to school? I'm pretty sure, like, why is she in the woods?
How far away is Chilton? Like, I know it's
so in the first episode, they said it was half an hour on the bus. So let's say that it is a direct bus, which it wouldn't be because it'd be a city bus. There'd be like a bunch of stops. She's not going to like the middle of the woods. Like, I guess she is because she's getting hit by a deer. And I don't really know a lot of dirt roads that actually have like municipal street signs like that. Like it had like a proper stop sign, and it's just like an intersection of two dirt roads. What is it like in America? Like, is that normal? Because here it's not. Here, when you're on dirt roads, you are on your own. You are in no man's land. Like, there may be a dirt road between two paved roads, when you're on dirt roads like that, it's because you're up in like cottage country and the signage is like people's like the Joneses and that way. Like it's not real deal. You don't have that. So I do not know what's with her route. She should not have stopped. She gets hit by a deer and then decides to get out. Like, you are late for your test. Go to school.
I get she cares about the safety of the deer, but like there are very pressing issues. The deer it didn't appear to be all that harmed. I mean, maybe he had a funny kind of leg, but he still was able to run away.
That's it.
Fine, go.
He ran away. There was no blood. Like, look around. You're fine. Go to school. There's no way a deer would run toward the big, loud, fast thing rather than away from the big, loud, fast thing. That's how deers work. I'm just saying. So she gets to school. She's late. She's not allowed to take the test. Mr. Medina is being kind but firm. Like, he's like being, these are the rules. Sorry, Rory, you were late. I can't let you like take the test, go to the library. And Rory just lets loose. And I spent this whole scene just being like, yes.
Me too.
Let's watch it. Let's watch it.
Yes.
And just what is wrong with you, huh? You already have everything. You already have the grades and the status. What the hell is wrong with you that you have this constant need to be the biggest jerk in the entire world?
Okay, let's go.
Huh? What's up? What's up, Quippy? Why so silent?
Outside, now.
And for the last time, the name is Rory!
Yes!
Yes!
Yes,
Oh,
Rory.
Gosh.
The way that she yells it, my name is Rory! Like, I was thinking of you.
Yes. I'm not a yeller, or at least I never was in any of the time that I was at grade school. Even then, like university, it took a lot for me to actually yell and get the gumption to do that. And so watching this is so cathartic for me, because anything with like some unfairness and injustice, especially when it's like, I deserve my chance and I have worked so hard and you are not letting me just show, I would want to explode. And she does. And I'm just cheering her on for this because I get that it's the rules of the school, but there has to be some way around it. Like, it's just dumb. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. And then by the end of the episode, we'll see there is a kind of a way around it in a way, but oh my God, I'd be fuming. So I was cheering for her. Absolutely.
Yeah. And the way that like, it's just, she takes up all of the pent up shit from her experiences there, and it's not just about the test anymore. She's just like overflowing. She is like Mentos in a Coke bottle. She is just like gone. And I have the clip where Lorelai is like, well, no, that's not Rory. Like, she doesn't do that. And you hear so many, that's not Rory, that's not Rory, that's not Rory's in this episode. And she's proven wrong every time. And it's really showing how this is completely like an earth-shattering experience for both of them, but especially Rory is completely out of her depth. And you feel like, ooh, the more you hear Lorelai say, well, no, that's not Rory. She doesn't do that. When it's like, we literally just saw her do that. And she's kind of cheapening her arguments. Like, Rory's never late. Yeah, but she was late. Rory doesn't explode, but she did explode. Rory doesn't get a D, but she did get a D. And how this is just like really throwing them both like completely off. And you feel for them because like she knows that this isn't typical of Rory. But then you have Headmaster Charleston being like, this is what you're here for. This is what it is. And you saying that this isn't like your kid does not change the fact that this is what's going on. Mm-hmm. And like, you want to hate him, and you do. We hate him. We don't like Headmaster Charleston.
We don't like what he stands for.
That's it. But he's not wrong. Like, okay, so here we go.
You sit up here in your snotty little school that's in desperate need of some extra heating vents, and you nurture horrible kids who treat each other like mortal enemies. You set impossible standards that make normal people feel less than everybody else, and you take a great kid like Rory and you tear her apart.
I don't think that's completely fair.
And you say she's smart and she'll do fine, and this rotting, stodgy rat hole could use somebody like her, and then you completely shut her out of a test she's been cramming for, that she's ready for, that she completely deserves to take.
I didn't call this place a rat hole.
Oh, no, that's true. I added that. Wouldn't want you to get in trouble with Il Duce here. I thought this place was going to be so great. And now, I guess this goes on the boy was I wrong list, right above Gaucho's, but just below the flash dance phase.
My goodness, you do like to throw fits in your family.
What are you talking about?
Your daughter threw a similar, if not as manic, fit of her own this morning.
Oh, please. Rory doesn't throw fits. She's the most even-tempered person I know.
Well, then, she did a lovely impression of you.
Well, I don't...
Miss Gilmore, everything you said in your rant was absolutely true.
Wouldn't it be nice to just tear into somebody like that one day?
Ugh.
Like, the more she went on, the more I was like, holy shit. Like, she's just letting it out and just going for it. And she's not holding back. Or if she is holding back, God help us.
This is one of the things that is an enduring love for me of the theater and of performing and acting. Because as I previously mentioned, I was not a shouter or like a big argument haver or anything like that. And the first time that I actually properly yelled with words was for the theater, was in acting class. And we discovered when I was, 21, 22, that I had never yelled before. And so for the first time I did it in class, and it is such a beautiful, brilliant feeling to just step in somebody's body and position and just get it all out, and you find places inside you that you've never reached before, and the shouting and the yelling is a wonderful feeling. So you get to pretend and you get to have these big cathartic experiences. So big up my actors.
I screamed in my car yesterday. I mean, I have toddlers, so I was alone for the record. But I'm just saying, have kids and you'll get a lot more chances to scream into the to the void,
into the abyss. Yeah.
It's nice to hear her stand up for Rory and like say all the things that we're all thinking. Like, the kids in the school are horrible. It's super competitive. Everybody's super mean. And then for him to turn around and be like, so it's like, oh, this was supposed to be a moment of like compromise and coming together, and it being like, you know, it feels like it's supposed to be one of those moments where it's a turning point, you know? Yeah. And then for Headmaster Charlton to just be like, yeah. Like, wait, what?
And he starts off with saying, like, everything you just said is true. Like, I know that, but that's just the way it is. Oh, the worst words of that's how it is. That's us. That's the way of the world, is to prepare people for the world. Bull.
Yeah. And she even says, but you make the rules. You can change it. You have the power to make it different. And he's like, but I won't. You're like, I hate you. But then that is what they're signing up for. That is that world and that environment and that like society. It's like that. And it just shows that it's not just Rory coming from the Stars Hollow High. It's also Lorelai coming from Stars Hollow High. And then so we do get, as you mentioned, a little bit later in the episode, we do finally get a bit of reparations from Mr. Medina with this voicemail that he leaves, which also voicemails, like zero level of privacy before cell phones and being able to check your messages on your own.
We never had one at home, which is odd because my dad worked for the phone company, and typically we were sort of ahead of the game with like everything to do with phones, but we never had an answering machine, probably because there was always someone at home. So my experience with answering machines is always what I see on TV. And what a system. It clicks and then suddenly everyone in the household can hear your business. Like, whoa.
Mm-hmm. I remember ours, it had like little tape that goes in, and you like, and then you had to press like the recording and the play button, I think, at the same time to like record your grading. I liked that machine a lot because I was 4, 5, 6, like I was young, and I thought it was very cool. And my parents even had a cassette tape of Looney Tunes voice message, like recorded voice message, like incoming or like the outgoing message sound. And it was all these different Looney Tunes ones, like, and then there's like Tweety Bird and Bugs Bunny being like, they can't come to the phone right now. And we begged and begged and begged my parents to like have it. So you'd have to like hold the cassette player, like playing the sound up to the voice, like the answering machine to like get it to record. I don't know where they got it. And I don't think they really let us use it, but it was amazing. Anyway, so the voicemail.
It's us. We're not here. We have a life. Get over it.
Hi, this is a message for Rory. It's Max Medina calling. I just wanted to say that I talked to Headmaster Charleston, or Il Duce as he's more affectionately known in the Gilmore household. And he's agreed to let you do some extra credit work to help make up for the missed test today. Now, I'm not sure what the extra credit work is yet, but it probably will be time-consuming and extremely painful. It will, however, get you back up to where I think you rightly belong, Rory. Don't lose heart. Make this work. And if your mother's listening, Lorelei, it was a pleasure encountering you. I hope it happens again. Anyway, see you in class. Bye.
What a great message.
It sounds a bit flirty from like I didn't really love when he's like, it'll get your grades back up to where you rightly belong. Like that feels like a bit
overkill,
much.
a bit heavy. Yeah.
But you know that he's not saying it to her. He's saying it to Lorelei. Like, you know that's why he's doing this. It's because he wants to get into Lorelei's pants.
Or skirt, as she's wearing at the moment.
Or skirt. Yeah, or her B-52 shirt. First of all, last time I watched this, I had to Google Il Duce because I had no idea. Like, I knew it was a bad, bad man. You could tell just from the use of the word that it's a bad, bad man. I did not realize it was Mussolini. But that's pretty ballsy of Lorelei to call the headmaster of her kid's school Mussolini to his face.
I love
everything
though,
she said was very ballsy.
Yes, that she's able to whip out a historical reference like that for the academics and the snobs who will get that reference. There she is. She's gonna demonstrate her smarts and her wit at your level. She's gonna beat you up at your level.
A fully appropriate, historical academia kind of reference. Which, fair enough. Yeah, good for her. How inappropriate is it to flirt with a student's mom on a voicemail about their homework?
Surely hugely. Hugely.
Yeah, but you could see in Lorelei's face while she's listening that she's like, okay. He noticed me. I noticed him. He's on my shirt. We're good. And then when he's like, if your mother's listening to this, and she's like, yes, hello, I am.
Yes,
Hi. It was, a pleasure running into you or whatever it was. And she's like, just getting a little bit of male attention, a little bit less smarmy than Mr. Man in the first episode.
Oh my gosh, remember him.
Second episode, I think. Yeah. Yeah. Is Mr. Medina a little bit more your speed?
Yeah. Maybe for me personally, a tiny bit too aggressive. Just a tiny bit. But that's me. I mean, I'm weird. I'm weird in this realm. This is not at all my stomping ground. Flirtation is not my stomping ground at all. But yes, yeah, he's good. And I like that he's really showing that he's not just on Lorelei's side, but he's on Rory's side as well. Like, hey, I'm here, and I talked to the headmaster because it's out of my power. I talked to the headmaster on behalf of you because I like you both very much. Even if we conflict, whatever. That I'm gonna help fight for you as best I can, because clearly he can see that she's a great kid. I think he said so. Even she's a very smart kid, and she works hard. And I'm hoping that we get some more instances of him being in teacher mode, because I can see this happening where it's just going to sort of become possibly on and off, flirting, potential romance. I don't know, but I'm hoping that we actually get a little bit more of him as teacher man, and he shows maybe that he's a little bit he shows a bit more of himself. That I hope he's a good guy. I don't know. Again, this is me with the fresh eyes. I'm the one who hasn't seen the series, so I don't know.
We'll see.
Oh dear.
And so ultimately what happens in this episode to kind of wrap up the school situation, we have Lorelai and Rory talking about Rory's future at Chilton. After the conversation with Headmaster Charleston, Rory and Lorelai are looking for the deer. So they're walking down this dirt road looking for the deer. And Lorelai straight up tells her, like, listen, if you want to go back to Stars Hollow High, like, that's okay with me. If this is too much, if you don't want to do this, that's okay with me. And immediately, and like I picture, my 16-year-old self just defensive. You don't think I can do it. And she's like, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I said. Those aren't like the words I used. And then she does say, like, I don't remember where Harvard came from. Are you doing this for me? And Rory ends up like reassuring her and telling her that, no, I do want to go to Harvard. That's my goal. That's my dream. And I want to try a Chilton for a little bit longer. And I reserve the right to change my mind at any time, which I really like that she did. And then Lorelai said that is her prerogative as a woman to change her mind whenever she wants. So I like that we got kind of Rory's confidence back, or at least her gumption, like her willingness to persevere.
Lorelai in this episode has already demonstrated her confidence in Rory. So even though Rory had the fully understandable 16-year-old defense of like, what, you don't think I can do it? No, she knows. She knows that Lorelai knows she can do it. She has her support, and you're a smart kid. I'm not going to try and tell you differently. But what she's worried about is not so much you can do it or you can't, you'll succeed or you fail. But what Lorelai noticed was a change in Rory's behavior. That got her concerned. And she even says as much. She says, I'm worried. I saw this and I'm worried about you. Not about us, not about your performance. I'm worried about you. So worried with good reason. And it's great that they have this point to get back to, which is that it's the two of them in it together. It's Rory's dream with Lorelai's support, but they're going to be in this together, and it's just such a nice thing to see.
yeah, because that's exactly what she says, and it's a really good point to bring up, where it's not just I can do this and like should you do this. It's Lorelai saying, you don't usually freak out and you don't have to like study like crazy like this most of the time. And like, this is suddenly like, you're 16. I want you to have like a nice experience and enjoy your life, like this doesn't have to be this intense. And if this is how it's going to be and you don't want that, like maybe that's for the best. And Rory kind of points out that like, I was behind, I'm going to catch up. It will be okay. It'll settle down. Like this is all new. And it's sort of Rory having the level head there and be reassuring, and then still giving herself the out if she needs it. So that was really good.
Yes. Oh, actually, before we wrap up, I want to quickly address the B plot in this. Oh
my gosh, we didn't even talk about it at all.
No, we didn't. Sookie demonstrates her pride with her issue going on with getting in her view, near enough getting a D on her paper, getting a quote, bad review. She even says, she has a line that says, this is pride, Lorelai. She has pride in her recipe for the magic risotto. So I think this again instills that pride is the theme of the whole episode. I think what's interesting is seeing how Lorelai responds, or how quickly Lorelai notices that something is going wrong in both her daughter and in Sookie. So with Rory, at an earlier scene, she shows up after receiving the paper with the bad grade, and she's behaving a little differently. I think she immediately wants chocolate or something like that. So clearly there's something wrong, and there's this tiny instance of Lorelai just doing like a double look, a double glance, but not provoking, not poking in and asking what's wrong, just sort of, okay, something's up. But with Sookie, it actually takes till the next day for her to notice that there's something wrong or for her to address that there's something wrong. But Suki's behavior changes almost instantly.
Her face just manner
falls. Yeah. And I wonder, like, what does Suki need when she's sort of spiraling and really, really going along with this? Oh my God, he really didn't like the dish. Who was it? And what went wrong? How can I fix this? But she's going and going and going. And I don't know what she needs in order to just calm herself down. She figures out what she needs. She doesn't need anyone else's input. She figures it out. She wants to know, was the recipe fine? Was it made the right way on the day? What was it paired with? And then she figures out it was paired with some different kind of wine, which changes the flavor. And she does the digging herself, and she comes to the point, all because of her pride. I mean, pride is, there's a gradient of pride. You know, you can be very prideful and snobby about it, or you can have various degrees of pride. And hers is to find out what went wrong. And she goes to sort it out and fix this situation for herself. She doesn't ask anyone else. She doesn't require anyone else in this. She does it all herself. And gets to write this. She gets to have it righted by, I don't know exactly if it's an apartment or if it's some hotel room or something where the critic is staying. We don't see him.
I think it's his house.
It must be his house. Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, because it seems as though she's standing on like the porch or the front step of his home.
Yeah. Yeah. And she gets to for her own benefit. Like, he's not going to rewrite the review and say, oh, actually it's delicious and it's a magic risotto. For her own peace of mind and sense of justice and rightness, she makes sure that he enjoys the risotto prepared the way it's supposed to be with the right wine. She doesn't even look at him. He continues to be this sort of mysterious figure. We don't see him. And you can just see on her face that she gets this satisfaction of like, okay, I've fixed this. This is good. At least as long as he knows.
Yeah, I really like, so the part that you mentioned where she talks about, well, this is like a point of pride. Well, like, it's about pride because we, as an audience, are made to feel like Suki is ridiculous and is just this like larger than life. Everything is kind of silly with Suki. She's clumsy and she has this dynamic with Jackson that is just absurd. And then she gets like all bent out of shape about this, the one word or the one little phrase in this glowing review. And I think by default, we're all sort of like, oh, whatever. Like, it's fine. Like, it's just that it's just Suki's exaggerating. Like, it's okay. But then when she explains like why she's so upset, we're all kind of like, oh, yeah, okay. Like, I see where you're coming from. Like, yeah, okay. I get it. If something that is so important to you, yeah, I could see how that would be a bummer. And I also really like how Jackson immediately knew something was wrong because she didn't care that the wrong mushrooms were being delivered, and he brought the morels and he knows she doesn't want the morels, and she's like, whatever. And he's like, holy shit, what's wrong?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I love Suki and Jackson. I think they're hilarious. Like, that whole dynamic is excellent. I also love Michelle and Drella. Their dynamic is incredible too. Drella's the first player. And Michelle at the front desk. Their bickering just brings me so much joy. I can't believe we didn't talk about Suki at all up until this point. It was a significant part of the episode, but B-plot, as you said.
B-plot, yeah. Just gonna check my notes to see if there's anything else that I wanted to cover here. Nope, I'm good to go.
So that wraps up episode 4 of season 1, The Deer Hunter. We are the Belladonna Watch Club.
As always, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next Thursday here on YouTube. And if you're listening via podcasts, then wherever you get your podcasts.
Have a good week. Bye-bye.
See you later.